and welcome to a new series that I've just created, and I've actually created it while we're on top of this coronavirus outbreak. At the moment I'm really into the Commodore 64, although not playing it, just admiring, you know, old games from the system. And I've been going on YouTube looking at games and thinking, you know, oh God, I remember that game. Anyway, what happened was I came across an article on one of the forums. I just accidentally stumbled on it, and it was talking about the top 100 all-time games for the Commodore 64 as voted by Zzap. Zzap 64. Zzap 64 was a dedicated Commodore 64 magazine back in the day, back in the prime of the Commodore 64. They used to do reviews, obviously, of the games. They used to even ratings, and most of the games that were classed as good, if they got over 90%, they were classed as a Zzap Sizzler, which was an high accolade for the games. And what I've done is I've decided I'm going to collect all those games in that list, 100 Commodore 64 games. Yeah, you could say it's a subset, but I'm not collecting this to display as a subset, if you understand what I mean. There's certain games where I will buy them if they're part of the Hit Squad label, and they will go into the Hit Squad collection, but they will count towards the 100 Commodore, the Zzap 100 all-time great games on Commodore 64. Now, it sounds complicated, but I just want to collect all these 100 games, show them to you. I haven't got them in any particular order. I'm not starting from 100 and working my way down to number 1. There's no secrets. You can find it online. Number 1 is Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Kinda. I mean, most of these games in this list are quite debatable, and to be honest, there are one or two that are questionable. I'm not here to judge the list. I'm just here to collect them and show you guys the full 100 collection. And I'm going to start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. These are the first 8 games I've bought. I will show you them in order of where they stand in the list. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't bought the first 8 are 100 to 92. They're just all over the place, although they are quite high up in the list. You've got to understand that certain titles in this list are demanding fairly high price. I wanted to buy the cheap ones first just to get going, and that's what I've done. There is one that could cost me, if you like, a bit of money, although not too extreme, and I'll explain that when I get to it. But anyway, let's crack on. And the first one we've got it's Bounder. This one is by Gremlin Graphics, and basically it's viewed from a top-down perspective. You control a tennis ball which continuously bounces. You have to make your way across the playfield, consisting of tiles basically. The grey tiles are the ones you're aiming for. Anything else will lead to death. You'll drop to your death. And there is a little bit of parallax scrolling, as in the playing field that you need to keep on, and then there's the lower playing field which you will drop to your death if you jump onto that part. There is obstacles in the way, enemies, and yeah, it's all about the timing and, you know, knowing the layout. And this is, you know, it's one of those games you'll have to do it time and time again to work out the layout of the levels. Yeah, it's by Gremlin. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Gremlin Graphics. As you may know, I'm a big fan of Monty Mole, and he was created by Gremlin Graphics. Aliens that destroy you, binoculoids, stickits, mosquito birds, chomper domes, teddies, coins, etc. It does say move bounder, the tennis ball around the screen, bouncing on grey slabs only. If you miss, you will fall to your death. You know, there is like power, the more bonuses rather than power-ups. So I didn't really, you don't fire. The game is solely about bouncing. It's the name bounder, bounding around the levels. It got 97% overall in Zzap, and bounder stands at 96, number 96 in the list. So I have played it. I found it quite tricky. I probably didn't give it a good chance really, and I have watched gameplay back now, and I've actually noticed that to start with it is quite easy. You just got to be patient. Patience isn't my forte, unfortunately, but yeah, I probably should give this another play, another chance. It's a good game. So next we've got a racing game, and this is Continental Circus. It is an arcade conversion, and the original cabinet came with, if I remember rightly, like 3D visor that you put your head to while you were driving. It was 3D. It would give a 3D effect, and it was really good in its time. It was, I mean, I remember the car scraping along the track and the sparks flying into your face. It was really good. The conversion to Commodore loses a lot. I mean, obviously, what you're getting is just a basic racing game now. It's nothing like the arcade game other than the name, but what it does well. Now, in regards of scenery flying past, there really much. You've got directional arrow signs, the little boards directing left or right, the corners, and you have trees, and that is pretty much it. Background's really quite sparse. The cars, they're limited. They're basically the same car, it's the same graphics but a different colour, and it's just a matter of going through several tracks based in different countries and making your way to the end, to the goal. But the thing is, and I do believe that this is probably why it's made the list, it does give a good sense of speed. Now the Commodore 64, if it's done wrong, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head of some bad examples. In fact, even though there's more scenery on Outrun, this looks a smoother game, it really does. And probably because it's so basic, it's enabling the computer to process the speed faster. With Outrun you've got all kinds of objects, roadside scenery and stuff, and it slows it down and makes it clumsy, if you like. I'm not saying Outrun's a bad conversion, but in terms of a racing game, this is probably a little bit better. In fact, I would compare this more to Pole Position. Pole Position, again, it's a basic game, but it's done well. And same can be said for Continental Circus. Now, this one obviously is a Mastertronic Plus release. Now the thing is, one thing I set myself with this challenge, if you like, getting 100 games, I'm not interested in buying the full price games, the original releases. I will just opt for the budget releases. The point of this is just to get the games. It's not about getting the original. Like I said, I'm not particularly getting this to display the full 100 games, on display. If I get any that's Hit Squad, then they'll go into the Hit Squad collection. I mean, a lot of these will be kicks and Encore, the other kind of budget labels. Yeah, it's just about collecting the games, not necessarily with their original publishers' releases. So, but yeah, anyway, Continental Circus comes in at number 85. Like I said, I believe it's purely because it keeps up the speed and the pace of the racing, and it does it well. Like I said, albeit quite basic. That's Continental Circus. So next, well, this was the most expensive purchase so far, but there's a reason, there's a very good reason, and this is Armalite. The true title is Delta Armalite, and I do believe this was the official sequel of Delta. This release is by Thalamus, and now then, what, if I'm not mistaken, Thalamus was a software company set up by the publishers of Zzap 64 magazine and Crash, Newsfield Publications I believe it was, and they set their own software house up. And to be honest, the Thalamus titles are pretty much quality. I don't think there were many, if any, bad releases by Thalamus. This one is no exception. Armalite, it's a side-scrolling shooter, and it is exceptional. It's very well presented. The graphics have a very metallic look to them, all through the game, and the detail is phenomenal. I mean, even the large bosses, you've got large bosses in between the levels. They're very well detailed, not highly animated, but still they'll look amazing. The only trouble with those is they seem to follow the same pattern, just swirl around a bit. The thing with Armalite is it never gets ridiculously hard, I should say. It does get busy, it does get fast and frantic, but not ridiculous. I mean, when I say ridiculous, I mean as in these Japanese bullet hell shoot-em-ups. Me personally, I never understand the attraction in those. You know, sometimes it's impossible to get out of a situation, and to me that's just pointless. This, in a way you could say, well, they've kept everything to, you know, the limit of what they can do without slowdown, and that's very clever because there is no slowdown, even with as many enemies and bullets on screen. But it's kept well enough, it's kept you know, decent enough that you never really get in a situation of being trapped. And I know what I'm trying to say, I just can't come out with the words, but it's a fantastic game. There's no in-game music. I believe the reason for that is that they were able to keep a variety of different sound effects. Having music on in the game is nice, but usually the sound effects have to interrupt the music. The Commodore only has 3 channels, but what they've done is they've got the title music, it's got the main menu music, and the music was actually created by, Martin Walker. Martin Walker actually programmed the 4th release by Thalamus, which was Hunter's Moon. Another really great game. In game, it's sound effects, and there is a really nice variety of sound effects, and it gives it that distinct feel and ambience to the game. Cracking game. Now, what did it get? Let's have a look. Now, I've been impressed with, I mean, these have all been eBay purchases. I've been really impressed with the quality of what I've been getting. Yeah, it got 97%. By their own words, this is incredible. A brilliant blaster whose graphics and gameplay knock the others for 6. Zzap, November 1988. Got gold medal, 97%. I love going back to this kind of. This is one of the double-sized boxes. But look at that! I mean, look at the artwork. That is just fantastic. Oliver Frey. Oliver Frey was a very well-known artist for Commodore 64 games. In particular, he did all the Thalamuses. artwork, which I would because he worked for Newsfield and needed also the Crash and Zzap 64 magazine covers. Yeah, that is brilliant. This one, like I said, was the most expensive at £18. That was postage and packaging included. But yeah, I had to have it. What I was originally going to say was the reason it was so dear. Thalamus, if you like, the subset to collect for, is very desirable, and one or two titles are very hard to find. At the moment I own 2 Thalamus titles. I own Q-Dex, the other one is Q-Dex. The reason I own that, I bought it ages ago, it's actually signed by Oliver Frey, like I said, who did the artwork for the game. But that is, and this came in at, have I already said that? 82, number 82 in the list. And that is Armalite by Thalamus. So, next, not a big fan of this game, I must admit. I believe David Retro Games Played Badly does like this game, and it's Gauntlet. It's basically top down, but the level walls, if you like, kind of isometric. It's like if you like, an early dungeon crawler, and you move your character around these maps, kind of like a maze. You have to find keys to unlock doors. There's loads of enemies to kill, and they will keep respawning unless you take out the generators or nests, bases, whatever you want to call them. The game does describe them as generators, and there's a lot of shooting in this game, obviously, because there's a lot of enemies to tackle, and it's a matter of learning your way around the maps to progress. I've never been a big fan of it, even in the arcade. I was never a big fan of Gauntlet. I know the arcade could run up to 4 players at once. No, I just never did all for me. I bought this one on the Kicks label. Yeah, this one of the cheaper titles, under a £5, I think, this one. But Gauntlet, there's spells to cast. I think you've got to collect those. I've never really played it that much, Gauntlet, to be honest. Like I say, I'm not a massive fan of it. Again, look at this. This is just in a single cassette, both sides. If you don't know about old 8-bit cassettes and instructions, then you won't know that you usually got the English on a couple of pages, then you usually got the European languages, French, Spanish, German as well. That's why they're so long. But yeah, this is Gauntlet. Gauntlet sits at number 64. It has its fans. There's 4 characters you can choose from. One is like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan the Barbarian type of character with an axe. There is a guy in green, he's got bow and arrow. You've got the wizard, and then you've got the blonde, big-breasted vixen with a shield and a sword. My favourite. That's Gauntlet. Originally by US Gold. Conversion was by US Gold. That's on the Kicks release. So next, and actually this arrived through the post just before I was filming this, and it's Batman, the movie. Batman, everybody loves Batman, don't they? David Retro Games Played Badly. I think he's got quite a few of these on Amiga. I think he struggled to get one working. I think he has finally got one that works now. But yeah, this is Batman. This is on the Commodore 64. It's a platformer. It's a side-on. It's a 2D platformer, but it does have sections, driving sections, where you're moving from left to right. There's loads of cars to dodge in and out of, and then there's also a section where you're in the back plane or whatever it is, glider thing. and same kind of thing, going from left to right. The idea is to cut the strings of these balloons. I imagine these balloons are filled with some kind of poisonous gas or something. But Batman was very well received, and it does look good. I must admit, it does look quite good. Comes in this nice ocean bag. That's the tape. Black tape, and obviously comes with the instruction manual. And like I said, the instruction manuals for these 8-bit games are massive. But like I said, a lot of it is just other languages. Foreign languages, the trouble is putting them back together. That is Batman by Ocean Software. Batman is a shadow in the darkness, as elusive as a dream. High above the seamy streets of Gotham, he is a criminal's nightmare, the only hope for a desperate city. Batman, I'm not sure what it got in terms of the review. This does play music all through the game. There's no sound effects. The music is by Matthew Cannon. He's a composer I've never really heard of, but he has composed a really good soundtrack for this game, Batman, the movie. And Batman is at 62, number 62. The next one, which is Nick Faldo, Golf, plays the Open. Nick Faldo plays the Open. It's golf simulation. This one, now I did actually on eBay. I did actually buy the big box version, and I got this sent through. Now I don't know if Bug-Byte is the original developer, the original publisher, I should say, or if this has been re-released by Bug-Byte. Yeah, I ordered the large box version and I got this. I did email them back and said, you know, you've sent me the wrong one. But I'm not going to chase it up. I did tell them, I said, I'm not bothered. To be honest, I'm merely collecting for the series, and it's not about the boxes and like I said to you earlier about the original releases. So yeah, but now I've never played this, but I have looked at it, and it doesn't look that good. This is what I was talking about earlier, about some questionable inclusions in this list. Me personally, I would put Leaderboard way above this, and Leaderboard is not on the list, surprisingly. It's top down. It's a very basic map, a very basic looking game with pretty much a third of the screen taken up by the menu, with your power, you know, the direction, and other bits like that, your choice of club. It doesn't look impressive to me, but it's in Zzap's top 100, so it must have its fans somewhere. And Nick Faldo Plays the Open sits at number 57. Next, we've got International 3D Tennis. Now, I've never seen this before. I've certainly never played it, and to look at it, it's really quite basic looking. The court and the scoreboard are all in like 3D, but the players are wireframe, and they look a bit weird actually. I think they've got a triangular head, but it's really smooth how it plays, and you would be surprised to find out that this were actually made by Sensible Software. They were released by Palace, published by Palace Software, but this was developed by Sensible Software, a very, very well known and brilliant developer in my opinion. yeah, it's kind of a weird game. It looks like I say, it looks very basic. The players, I really don't like the look of. I know the wireframe and they're nicely animated, but it just looks weird. But it does play quite smooth. This is by Sensible Software International 3D Tennis. It got a Zzap sizzler, it says on the box. And we've got the tape inside, we've got a little note from Thalamus Software. And then once again, we've got this huge instruction inlay. We open it up. Look at that. That's insane. Yeah. International 3D Tennis. Yeah. It's and that smell. Yeah, I mean games like, I mean the cardboard as well, the chunky paper manual really have that old vintage smell. I don't think it's a bad smell. I just it's a damp smell actually. I shouldn't really be saying it's a nice smell. It's a damp smell, but it's just. I mean, this is in a cardboard box package. Is it the same size as the double? Let's just check. Yeah. It's exactly the same size as that one from but Armalite's cased in. Obviously it's a little thicker, but that is International 3D Tennis, which stands at number 56 in the list, and like I say, it got a Zzap sizzler. I don't really know any other tennis games to compare it to be fair, so I can't really say if it's a questionable inclusion to the list. It just looks a bit weird to me. It's something I don't think I'd really enjoy. I'm not a massive fan of tennis games, even on next generation consoles. I'm not interested in them, but that's International 3D Tennis by Sensible Software. And lastly, we're staying with Sensible Software. This is MicroPro Soccer. Absolutely fantastic football game on the Commodore 64. Cutting edge. Again, Sensible Software really they like to break the norm. They like to do things differently. And this is, I suppose you could say, this is the precursor to Sensible Soccer. It's got that familiar top-down view. It's very fast. It's really fast-paced. It's got some brilliant effects. I mean, it has a rain effect. You can see the splashes on the pitch as the rain hits down. Your characters slide longer when they're going for a tackle. They slide longer because of the rain. And when you score a goal, there's like a really clever rewind mechanic. It goes black and white and has like a TV interference to rewind back, and then it shows you the goal in slow motion. Like I said, they were cutting edge with Sensible Software. This one 90%, it got 90% by Zzap, so it just made it to a sizzler. This is obviously this is the original release. This is the Kicks label release. Kicks, I believe, was US Gold's budget range. Surely, when I'm going off the address, because usually you could tell a company with its address. Units 2 and 3, Alford Way, Alford, Birmingham. Sure, it's US Gold. But anyway, MicroPro Soccer comes in at 54. Very respectable. Can't remember off the top of my head if there's another football game, further up in the list. But if not, it's well earned. Can't quite made halfway, has it? But MicroPro Soccer even, it got a release on the Spectrum and Amstrad. It even got 90% in Crash, which which is the Spectrum version of Zzap, the magazine, and it even got a good review in TGM on the Amstrad. I don't know what TGM was, but it says it on the blurb at the back. I think it's a simple design of the game, you know, the simplicity of how it's presented, yet it's so fast and frantic that, you know, it's so much fun. And yeah, like I said, this is the precursor to Sensible Soccer, which, you know, pretty much everybody must have heard about, and most people love. But yeah, that's MicroPro Soccer. Have I already told you? Yeah, number 54. And that concludes the first part of Zzap 64's top 100 games of all time. And I've got more games on order, so when I get enough in, I'll do part 2. But yeah, until then, for now, thank you for watching. See you later.